Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Today, we're going to try to answer a question, and this question is basically about Microsoft's potential purchase of Warner Brothers, studios, the game studios, basically, and if Microsoft is able to pull this off. Now, for those of you who don't know, Microsoft is one of the biggest cash hoarders, according to, a lot of reports out there. Basically, they have a whole bunch of money that they're, storing in basically offshore, places that provide safe tax havens for them. But for those of you who also don't know, if you have not been following Microsoft, they've been acquiring a whole bunch of studios in the past few years, and they've been gearing up for this console generation to basically compete against Sony. But now that Warner Brothers is wanting to sell their gaming arm, AT&T basically, a lot of people have said Microsoft is actually, basically expressing interest. Now, the question is Microsoft able to acquire the studio? Having acquired other studios and all, do they have enough money to do so? Well, I think the simple answer is yes. And we can go back and look at reports from a few years ago and basically track, how much money this company basically is able to shell out whenever they want to, if you get what I mean. Now, if you look at this CNN article from January of 2018, this article basically says that Microsoft took a $13.8 billion charge in the final 3 months of 2017 due to the tax bill signed into law in December. Now it says with the charge, Microsoft posted a $6.3 billion net loss for the quarter, and without the charge, Microsoft's profits hit $8.7 billion, up 10% from the same period in the year earlier. So basically, in that quarter, they had an $8.7 billion profit 2 years ago. Now, Microsoft did not specify whether the charge was due to the new reparation tax, and the tax bill requires companies to pay a one-time 15.5% tax on money held overseas, down from the maximum 35% they will previously have paid to return the money. Firms can no longer avoid paying taxes on past international profits by keeping the money outside. Now, this tax bill that was passed in the U.S. by the Republicans was supposed to encourage businesses to bring money back into the country and reinvest. Microsoft took that option and took a 15% charge on there. Look at these numbers. If 15% of the money that they were trying to bring into the country was $13.8 billion, what do you think the overall charge would have been? 85% of the money they had brought in. That looks like a whole ton of money over the course of 2 years. And so what that tells me is Microsoft may still be sitting on a huge pile of cash that is basically in all kinds of different places that they can easily shell out for this deal. Now, for those of you who don't know, this particular tax bill, as reported here, at the New York Times, as much as I will tell you that the New York Times' credibility is all up in the air in America, you can basically see that this same thing showed that even corporations basically had their tax rates cut to 21% from 35%. So I think, Microsoft went ahead and took that deal at that point to only pay about 15.5% and then enjoy this 21% basically annually when they keep filing their taxes. The second largest company that has, offshore cash reserves like Microsoft does, or maybe the largest, I would say, not second largest, Microsoft is the second largest, is Apple. So Microsoft definitely can front this deal to purchase, Warner Brothers game studios without any problems. Now, the only thing that might hinder them is net profitability and then ongoing, maintenance, or what we call just, keeping the studio alive. Because when they publish the game, they're going to need the expertise of the developers that are there. They're going to need the knowledge. They're going to need a lot of the resources that the studio has already built up for years to continue to support the game. And perhaps there might be projects that might be on the table that Microsoft might just say, we need to finish these projects, maybe scrap projects in order to prevent further losses, and then go in there and reshape and restructure things. But that's probably what they're going to be looking at overall, the profitability over time if they purchase these studios from Warner Brothers, because there are a lot of them. But I don't see any way how net profitability is a problem. If you think about a studio just like NetherRealms alone, that studio has no problem raking in profits from selling good video games. Example, I have Mortal Kombat on 2 platforms and I have the DLC on 1 platform. Just me alone, I've been able to shell out some decent purchasing money for the game. And even the game itself, Mortal Kombat 11, was a top seller in 2019 when it came out. I think it was a top 5 regarding highest sales. So there is no problem regarding that game being able to, bring in some money. I think Microsoft might need to reevaluate some other non-high sales games, but I doubt that the Batman games and the DC games aren't going to be there, especially the way that Spider-Man has been able to, basically take the cake and run away regarding sales and numbers, where we had to have basically The Last of Us come, to the scene before we could actually try to even, do better than those numbers. And then you saw God of War, and these are all exclusives on the Sony side that have done very well. So there is no doubt that if Microsoft even acquires these studios, that they're not going to be profitable. Now, I know many people are talking about exclusives and all that stuff, but I think exclusives might be a short-sighted way of looking at things. That's my thing. I don't think Microsoft is going to want to take it as an exclusive, but they might be able to charge licensing fees to Sony to, for them to be able to get the games that they're going to acquire from Warner Brothers on their platforms. You can't just do that with, all the games. Some games cannot be exclusive. Why? If you look at Mortal Kombat on the console scene, the cash cow is PlayStation. PlayStation has the highest number of players in the Mortal Kombat community. That's just a fact. I mean, most of the competitions are done on a PlayStation platform. So that's basically how you can see how it works. Now, yes, Xbox has a good number, but PlayStation basically takes the cake regarding that. So if you're going to bring out a game with NetherRealm Studios, you want NetherRealm to continue to serve the PlayStation community, as well. And so that's a broader game in that aspect. But I think if you look at net profitability, the amount of profits that can be made from the overall games that Warner Brothers, Studios is capable of bringing about, in my opinion, is a much more bigger picture. So whether or not Microsoft goes console exclusive or not, if they make this purchase, they still have a lot to gain. They have the money, I think, to do so. We don't know what they've been spending their money in the past 2 years, but I doubt that the money has been used for all kinds of trash. And I also have to concede that, yes, the money is, it belongs to Microsoft Corporation as a whole. It's not for the Xbox arm just itself, but I doubt that Microsoft, if there's any kind of analysis that shows that this will be profitable, will be unwilling to shell out the amount of money, because it's a business investment too. It allows for them to potentially gain some tax benefits if they're able to pull a lot of these, studios. Because trust me, I don't know how it all works, but in my little simple mind, if I were to go ahead and make this purchase, say you give me Microsoft money right now, I make purchases of these studios, I'll bring those studios inshore to the United States, because now I'm going to be, hiring people that are going to be paying taxes to the US. And you know what that means? If you hire people that are paying taxes to the US, the IRS is your buddy. I mean, literally, they give you a high five and they give you a whole bunch of tax benefits for you to be able to create and provide more jobs. It's just kind of the way business works. So there's nothing stopping Microsoft other than maybe a potential hazardous protection or hazardous financial issue that's not public to us. But I think that this is the deal that needs to happen. But we're going to let the financial experts that are, with these corporations look at things. We're going to let lawyers look at things, and we're going to see what the decision comes out to be. But anyways, that's basically my video about all of this. I appreciate you guys this time and audience. Thank you very much for paying attention and, bearing with me to walk through some of these things. But I enjoy looking at these, these intricacies. And I really do appreciate the fact that, we have the information out there. So I'll be doing some more digging. I remember coming across these things in 2017, but I didn't really understand the implications. But who would have seen that one day AT&T is going to want to sell Warner Brothers games? I mean, goodness. All right, I'll be out of your hair. Thank you once again. Peace out.